We're back. We're back for another version, another episode of the Lunch Pail Turns. So this is the Lunch Pail Half Hour for blue collar. It's blue collar. We dig in the dirt. Our favorite tool is a shovel. We're always doing the dirty work. That's how we do it. Woo woo. So today's subject we were going to talk about was visualizing for victory. Visualizing for victory, that's a powerful tool. All right, Jesse says, hi, Bill. Hi, Jesse, back. Woo, woo. And so I was just recently using, they say like the mind can't tell the difference between if you're visualizing and if it's real or if it's just in your head. You know what I mean? If you're visualizing or it's real, so your mind can't tell the difference. That's what I've been told, and I believe that. So if you get a good vivid visualization going, it'll feel like you're really doing it. You can really feel it, and that helps with your confidence up when you're trying to take on these events. So I was just recently, kind of my morning routine, let's start with that, how that works, is I get up in the morning, I grab some coffee, I do a couple hard-boiled eggs, I do a banana, and I do like a small protein shake, and that's what I start my morning with. And what I do is for the visualization part, while I'm eating and drinking that shake and drinking a little bit of water, I'm looking at my wall. So I'm visualizing, seeing my wall, which has like different people who inspire me, sayings that inspire me, affirmations on there, my big goals are on there. And so all that inspires me, and I keep doing, I'm looking, so that's how I start while I'm doing my breakfast and all that. And then after that, I will go to, I start with like Wim Hof. So I do Wim Hof breathing, and I'll do 4 rounds of that. And that clears my mind. It calms me down, and it really clears everything up. So when so I'll go from that, and I'm calm, and I'm, and I guess centered would be a good word. I always wanted to use that word, calm and centered, like I could really focus. And so what I do is, so I'll go through and I'll do, doing my Wim Hof and get my breathing in and just really get in the zone for meditating. And then after that, I'll go to listening to a Joe Dispenza guided meditation. I just do like the 15-minute ones. And sometimes they have visualizations in them, some of his ones he does. Other ones you're just following him, and he's talking about, just guiding you along in his affirmations, and getting me, just gets you he gets me going, man. He gets me calm, he gets the mind calm. And and I definitely do some visualizations in every one of his guided meditations, because I'll think about like my goal is to recently was to do the English Channel. Unfortunately I didn't make the qualifying swim. I didn't give myself enough time to train, but what I did was I would see myself finishing the swim, and then standing up and looking at my boat and giving this, so really feel like the sand or rocks, whatever part of France you hit where there's rocks or sand. But I pretend like I'm feeling sand, and so I'd hit the sand with my hands, and then I feel myself then I start and I walk out. And I would go to my crew, on the boat and let them know I made it. I'd be jumping up and down and doing this, and they'd be jumping up and down. Because when I finally do make that channel, it'll be my 6th attempt. That's a lot of attempts. I've spent a lot of time in that channel. So anyway, I do that in the Joe Dispenza, but then I'll go to, and then I'll go into a regular like a meditation in my own head where I'll play some music, play some music. When I swim, I've been playing the Under Pressure song by Queen. I don't know why. I like that song for swimming. And so I, feel my stroke, get a feed in from the boat, every half hour we got a feed and they feed you. So I, do a feed. And then really it's the same type of thing. I'm just feeling and coming and doing the last stretch into France, where I'm swimming and feel when I hit the sand and get up on shore and feel that exhilaration of finishing such a big goal for me, So that's where I'm, so that's what I've been, so that's what I do on that visualization, And then I also like to do some stretching right around this time. So I'll do some more stretching too. And as I'm watching, maybe a few more videos, and look like motivational videos and looking at my wall, What's the most vivid, here's a question, what's the most vivid mental image you use to carry yourself across a finish line? I think the most vivid is just finishing, you know what I mean? So the events that I've done that are really hard and I've finished, man, it's like, yeah, you're feeling what it feels like to be out there for days and crossing a finish line, I remember when I did RAM, it took me 16 days to go across America with basically 16 days, and you got a van for support, but you're just getting quick 2 hour sleep here and this, just short bursts of sleep for like 16 days. And what carried me, one of the things that carried me was seeing myself finishing over in Virginia, you know what I mean? And in Maryland, finishing in Maryland and going across the line, And so that's what I just, when I the shortcut for visualizing for me is feeling myself crossing that line and the exhilaration that I'll feel, Here's another question. Do you use mental pictures? Do you involve sound, smell, physical feelings too? I try to. I mean, I'm really good at the visualization. I'm pretty strong as long as I can get my mind relaxed. And the more, just so you guys know, the more I've done the Wim Hof breathing and the Joe Dispenza meditations, his meditations, the better my visualizations have been, because the calmer my mind is and the more I could focus on my goal and seeing it clearly and feeling it, trying to feel it, I don't know, she asked if I ever smell anything. I don't think I'm that advanced that I've worked the smell in yet, but I definitely feel it. I try to feel it and I definitely see it, Do you visualize in silence or do you continue with music? I like music, like motivational music, I've used Rudy music in the past. I mean, I watched that movie like 16 times. It's so inspiring. It's an underdog football movie. And I've pretty much wore myself out on visualizing the Rudy music. And because it inspires me. I visualize to Rocky music, old school inspiring music, and it really, it's like worth the time if you can get, your morning routine and you can put in, 30 minutes or 35 minutes into this meditate, the Wim Hof, the Joe Dispenza meditation, and then go and just do a 5-minute visualization of me crossing the line in whatever event I'm shooting for or finishing whatever event I'm shooting for. We're up to 5 people. Woo woo! I just saw where somebody, I was watching their live stream and they were up like they get in the hundreds. We're gonna be in the hundreds soon. Hang in there, you 5. Woo woo! So yeah, I'm big. The visualization is huge, and it pretty much you can feel it. And I know like I've used it in Arrowhead. In Arrowhead, I've taken 12 attempts and haven't finished, right? But do I think that I make it further than I would have if I wasn't doing the visualization and feeling myself crossing the finish line? I definitely make it a lot further than I would have, even in the ones I don't make. I make it a lot further than I would have. Okay, let's see. Here's another one. Can visualization help with pacing and strategy and staying calm under pressure? Yeah, it sure can. I mean, when I've done running things and I'm visualizing, a lot of times I'll visualize myself looking down at my watch or whatever or GPS, and it's telling me what my pace is. So I'm thinking about my pace in my head. I've done, where I really thought about paces a lot was when I was doing marathons, because I had certain paces I wanted to hit. And so I would see that, and then I would look down at my watch, like when I'm visualizing the race and running. And I only do, like I said, most of my visualizations are, like 5 minutes tops. I don't go longer than that. And if I do it, then I'll do it, I'll do it again. I'll do the same song again and visualize it again, But that after, so like I said, the Wim Hof is about 20 minutes. The Joe Dispenza is like 15 minutes, and then it's like 5 minutes or so of seeing what event or race I'm doing in my head, and specifically seeing myself cross the finish line. Do you believe that? Yeah. Do you believe visualization can actually rewire the brain to expect? I 100% do. That you could rewire your brain to expect success. I mean, really, when you listen to anybody who's elite, I'll just go off of athletes, they're visualizing, they're doing it, and they're doing a lot of visualization of their, if it's a gymnast, they're visualizing their routine over and over again. A ski jumper, he's visualizing his jump, and then I would imagine the guys who are, I don't know if they do their whole race or just the finish like I do. I don't know, but I know anybody who's elite has got visualization in their toolbox for sure. Let's see here. So I do like I don't really like silence. I like having music when I'm doing that visualization or a guided visualization, like I said, from Joe Dispenza, if that would take, if you could find one that took you through an event. I mean, I haven't really used one that's that type from him yet, but he's got plenty of them out there, man. There's a lot of them on YouTube too. When you think about your biggest goals now, what picture do you see the most clearly? Usually it's making it, or if it's mountain climbing, I'm seeing myself at the top, man. I'm seeing myself with my ice axe in my hand and going like this. Like, I've done a lot of visualization about Denali, and I've made it to high camp. I haven't got the chance to do the jumping up and down, not jumping up and down when you're on the top, but just pumping my arm up and down. And I would have I'd have my feet firmly stuck in the ground. No sliding off Denali. That's not good for your health, man. Okay, so do you think about your biggest goals now? What picture do you have most clearly? Yeah, I mean, right now it's been the English Channel. I'm thinking about doing I'm kind of cross training right now because I'm a little bit trying to switch up my training and do some running. Just did a lot of swimming in the bay and cold, and I need a little break from it. So I'm doing some running. And so I might do see how close I could get to like a 6-minute mile. I haven't done a 6-minute mile in a while. And so it would be fun to try for that again, at least see where I could get, The last time I got under 7. And but I figured I needed more time to train to get closer to 6. When I was in high school, 6-minute mile was kind of easy, but now it's kind of like a good goal for me, it excites me. It's on my wall over here. It says I have run a 6-minute mile. So that's kind of a fun, I always like goals. If I don't have a goal, it's like, I don't even understand what the sense of, the purpose of life is without goals. So I always have a goal that I got to, it's what gets me up in the morning, gets my juices flowing, is when I got that goal and I get out there and start attacking the training of it. Can visualization actually improve discipline and consistency? Yeah, I think it can. I think the more you can get into it and feel it, just feel that energy coming through you, like if it's a running thing, you could feel like each step you're coming off the ground, and you're feeling it. And it just like, I don't know, it gets you out there for sure, man. It's like after I do my morning routine, a lot of times I feel like crap, And I am doing my morning routine and doing all three of those disciplines. Plus, a lot of times I'll do a cold plunge, which is like in the apartment pool here when they don't heat it in the winter, so it's pretty cold. Or I do a cold shower, and then that sends me out the door, man. I'm like a different person. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm in a good mood like 99% of the time now. It used to be like however I slept through the night, if I had a bad night's sleep, terrible dreams, terrible this, terrible thoughts, that my next day would be like crap. Now I don't let that happen because I do this morning routine where I'm doing a lot of visualization at the same time, and my days go a heck of a lot better, man. They're like really great. And by the time I get in, to the gym later in the evening or whatever, I'm fired up about life, man. It's just like, it just keeps growing, that my motivating feeling. I'm inspiring myself. Plus I like inspiring everybody around me, Let's see. Anybody else got any questions about visualization? Here's one more. What's micro visualization someone could do in less than 60 seconds? That's a good question, man. I could see I think if you could just see yourself finishing your workout, you know what I mean? If you can see yourself finishing your workout and feel it, like if you're, like you're in the morning, or if you're doing something, some sort of work assignment or something, feel yourself finishing that off and how good it feels to be done, whatever your thing is you got to do that day, and just feel like what it feels like and see yourself finishing it. And I think the key, like I said, visualization's great, but it's the feeling part, as I understand it, that's the most important. You want to feel like you're getting, accomplishing these great things as you're seeing them in your head. So I would recommend, if you got a race coming up, see yourself finishing and looking at the clock and you're hitting the time that you wanted to hit, or faster. Woo woo. I'll have to see a 5:59 mile, how close I can get to that. Anyway, I'll just do the best I can do. That's what mine and Jet, that's our mantra. If you got goals, like I tried that for a while, and I got down like high sixes. I never got down to 6, but I love challenges, man. I'm just telling you, having a goal and seeing that, looking down at running that 6-minute mile, looking down at my watch and seeing 5:59 seconds. Woo, woo. I've been watching, there's a lot of people on YouTube too who have done 6-minute miles recently, and that was like their goal. And so it shows them doing it and their stopwatch going off. I watch as many of those as I can too, man. Then I feel like I'm the guy running that 6-minute mile. So that's what I'm encouraging you to do, man. If you got a big goal or dream, if you can, it's great to visualize in your head, but it's also great if you just see it. Also, on YouTube or something, and somebody else doing it, and you feel like that's you doing it, that you're seeing those times pop up. You're the guy running the 6-minute mile. That's what I've been doing, and I think it's helping, And then it's like, because I got my swim body on too, so hopefully I can drop 10 or 15 pounds as I'm visualizing myself getting my cold water swim body. That's like you put on a few pounds to stay warm in the bay. I do anyway. So let's see. Do you recommend visualizing the night before bed, in the morning, or both? They say like whatever you think about at night, right before you go to bed, is what is going to percolate through your night. So a lot of times I just put these affirmations on my phone that are positive affirmations and let those percolate through my brain all night, I think I'm just used to sleeping with noise. And so I'm trying to get stuff in my head. I wouldn't say, I don't know if that would be considered visualization, but I'm trying to get affirmations into my head that are all positive. I try to use every freaking tool I can. If I hear about something and I think there's a possibility it would work for me, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it for sure. I love it. And so I'm trying to get that, just everything's positive. What I see in my head is positive. You know what I mean? As soon as stuff starts to get negative, that's why I have a life coach. Jesse's on the phone, woo, on the call. But we snap me out of it, man, and I get back to being positive. A lot of times I snap myself out of it anyway with my morning routine. Some days I'm not feeling it at all. I mean, like zero. I mean, I know you guys know those days where like a lot of times, like I said, I train till, at 9 o'clock at night, and when they kick us out of the gym, we're called the closers, closer power. And they kick us out of the gym, and, and I can get wound up and not get to sleep for a little bit. And, and it makes it hard getting up in the morning. But when I do, like I said, if I can just jump right on this morning routine, then the quicker I get that in, the quicker I'm going to feel good and be ready to attack the day and attack those goals. It's firing me up right now just talking to you guys. Anyway, yeah, you're using every tool you can, but visualization is super, super strong. It's a really, really good one for, just feeling like you're doing it, man. I've spent a lot of time doing visualization, just a lot of time. That's why I have this wall behind me, because it's one big visualization. Every time I look at one of these pictures, like here's Goggins right here. Here's, this is Vinny Paz, who got his neck broke in a car wreck and rehabbed himself and went back out and won 3 more titles. You don't think when I look at his picture every day that it makes me want to get my butt out the door and train? You sure don't want to be a wuss with Goggins on your wall. I can feel like what it, when I look at Goggins, I feel in my head like Goggins would feel. I mean, I'm trying to feel it, like nothing's going to stop me, So that's what I'm encouraging you to do. Just keep visualizing, keep going after things. It's always just trying to get positive stuff in your head. And probably the longer you could do, visualizations, the better. I think people do it much longer than me, But I do what kind of works for my time frame, and that I know that I can do it every day, I mean, just a routine that I feel comfortable and that I know I can get it in. But it changes my day, man. It literally, like doing my visualization, doing my Wim Hof, doing my Joe Dispenza. I mean, my mood has been 100% better since I started religiously doing this. I might miss one day a week where something, I don't know, I get tight on time or something, but I usually get all of them in, I'm trying to get all 7 days a week and doing everything, but every once in a while I'll miss one. It's just like, I don't know, something comes up that screws me up. But anyway, I think we're looking good right now. Let's see. Have you ever changed your training plan because of something you visualized? Well, I try not to visualize negative things like sharks. People always ask me about sharks. I don't know what it is. Those Jaws movies really screwed people up, man. They go, "Are you ever afraid of sharks?" They always say that. I think they say that to all of us who swim in the bay and stuff and in the ocean. And I say, "No, I'm a South Ender. The sharks are afraid of us." Woo woo. I don't think that's true, but you know, I do not visualize negative things. So I wouldn't like when I'm swimming out there. I'm just my visualization when I'm doing a swim with the Zodiac, you know, where they're feeding me every half hour, is I'm seeing myself swim. You know, I'm swimming, and then I feel like then he throws the food out or my water bottle. You know, it's everything's tied to a rope. I eat and drink real quick, and then I move on and start swimming again. And then I'll see myself in my visualization finishing the swim. You know, like a 4 hour, a 5 hour, a 6 hour. That I didn't finish my 6 hour, but I was visualizing it. You know, so like I said, you don't always make it, but I really feel like I make it further because I do those visualizations. You know, so anyway, I think let's see, Jesse, so do I ever change my training plan because of something you visualize? I would say I kind of visualize, I don't, I would say no. I kind of already know what I'm doing. How can someone who struggles to picture things in their mind still practice visualization effectively? I'm telling you, it's the meditation. I couldn't visualize for a long time because my brain was too stressed. I was having a lot of stress up there. So I thought, you know, I was thinking like, God, I just can't visualize like I used to, you know? But as soon as I started doing the Wim Hof, which I said like quiets my mind, the breathing, the Joe Dispenza, and then like my visualization to music thing, it's like by doing the Joe Dispenza and the Wim Hof, it calms it down to where I can see again. It's like, yeah, I got my brain. You can't have your brain. Your brain needs to be calm. It can't be all stressed up there. If it's all stressed up there, you ain't gonna see crap. So you need to you gotta calm your brain if you want to see, you know, get good visualization. You have to have a calm brain. I'm glad you brought that up, Jesse. Woo, that was so important because I really couldn't do it for a long time because my brain was too crazy, man. It was too crazy. And then I've been doing, like I said, the Wim Hof really helped a lot for my meditation and visualization because it calms the brain down when I do that breathing. And you do that 20 minutes and it calms you down. And then I go into Joe Dispenza and that's another level. And then you go to, and then I do like something to music or something where I'm looking and it's just, yeah, it's powerful, man. And the visualization on this wall, I don't know. I look at it on and off like all morning and all afternoon or all evening. And so I don't know how much of that sinks into my head is like keeping me going in life and keeping me fired up because I don't seem to lose it for very long. That fired up feeling about life. Woo, woo. So visualize yourself to victory or at least a hell of a lot further than you would have made it without visualizing. Thank you guys very much. This was awesome. Woo, woo. Lunch Pail Half-Hour signing off. Woo, woo. I think we're doing it again Thursday. Woo, same time, same bat channel. Woo, woo. See you then.